Welcome to Shultz Guard, the reworked version for 2020. I'm pretty sure this is the second time this place was reworked, and hopefully this time it's gonna be good enough to be grindable, or at least recommendable. For those who don't know, I mean, everyone should know at this point, but if you click on the video, you know that Shultz Guard is an area in Media, which obviously isn't very well known for having high-end grinding spots. It's a beginner area, so it's interesting to see that they decided to put a 240 AP spot right here. In my case, I actually like this because living in Heidel, like most people do, I find this to be very close. The travel time is very short, so it could potentially be a really convenient spot to grind 1 hour a day, then go back and AFK or do other life skills. So let's see what this place is all about. I'm gonna proceed as always with the exact same format, the exact same series, and compare it to the previous videos I've done in this spot breaking series. Let's start first of all with my gear, because I feel like it's important. Obviously I have overkill AP. You don't need as much as I do. You can pay attention on the screen to see exactly what I have in terms of KAGTUMS in my armor, my AP, my DP. Once again, the pets are probably the most important part, because I have 2 tier 4 pets and 3 tier 3 pets, and I tried my best to not loot anything manually from the ground. Obviously every now and then I felt like maybe picking up a couple of items, but in general I didn't loot anything, so whatever I got, it's from my pets. I am one-shotting the packs. I don't know if you need this much AP to one-shot the packs, or if you need to be a guardian, but I would assume the recommended 240 AP, like it says on the map, with a KAGTUM, that should be probably enough for most classes to one-shot the packs. If not, if you are a very fast class, like, I don't know, classes that have fast animations, then maybe you can get by with 2-shotting the packs. In my case, I averaged 12,000 trash per hour with a normal loot scroll and no Agris buff at all, so if you can manage that, then you are pretty much on par with my clearing speed. I spent here a total of 8 hours. I kind of wanted to go for 10, but as you will see soon enough, this place isn't really very convenient to grind as I would have liked it to be in terms of inventory management and weight limit management. Because of that, I had to stop at 4 hours. You will see in a second when I get into the actual process, but before that, the rotations, there were 2 of them that I used. The first one, which is probably already playing in the background, is let's just say this place doesn't necessarily have set rotations. The monsters respawn very fast, maybe 1 minute before the monsters respawn, so you don't need a big rotation to grind here. I'm pretty sure you can make maybe 4 different rotations without having them overlap, but this first rotation, what you see currently, this is what I knew from way back when I first visited this place, and I just simply didn't want to be bothered by other people, so I tried to make a rotation, kind of out of the way of other players so I don't get interrupted. You do kind of have to jump down at some point, so it's not a very nice circle, let's say that, but it is usable in my case, and the downtime from having to jump down every single time on that certain spot on the rotation doesn't seem to make any difference. At least it doesn't seem like it in terms of trash per hour. So that's the first rotation I used. You can use it if you want. The second rotation is what I would call the main rotation for this place. It's basically the area very close to the beach or the water, whatever that place is, and I would say it's the better one, the superior one, just because it seems to have more packs that are more dense. The monsters are more densely packed. It has more of those bigger packs of monsters, so maybe if you are a class that moves faster between the groups, you might see some gains here. In my case, on my guardian, I kind of felt like I'm transitioning kind of too slow between the packs to see any real difference between this rotation and the previous one. But if if the entire server is empty and you can pick what rotation to grind, then just choose this one close to the beach, because it's probably the superior one. This is also the one I used for an experience test later on, so it's the one I would recommend. That's about it in terms of rotations. In terms of population, honestly, this place was, I believe, reworked 1 week or 2 weeks ago at most, and yet this place is empty. I encountered only once 2 people in my 8 hours, and those 2 people, as far as I remember, I didn't record them. They didn't have a guild, so they seems to be kind of new players. They were also not one-shot in the packs, so I assumed they were newer players. In which case, of course, they didn't know any better and they were kind of poking my monsters. But outside of that, I was literally alone. I never had any issues, and even in that instance, I switched the server once, and once again I was alone. So maybe people don't know about this place yet, or they just consider that it's not worth their time because currently it doesn't seem to be very populated. And that being said, let me quickly talk about those 8 hours and what I have to note about them. So first of all, if the screenshots didn't already start playing, I would like you to look at the inventory and realize that in just 1 hour I'm filling almost my entire inventory. Of course it wasn't scrolled down, but you get a lot of items, a lot of armors, in general a lot of different drops, so inventory management wise it's not really very friendly. In the beginning, when I was grinding the first rotation, I had to rely on my 9 storage mates to keep on moving the trash into the Altinova bank. So again, you might need mates, maybe not. On the 2 rotations that I showed, there are places really close by where you can leave your horse and overstack the trash item on the horse, so that's not exactly an issue if you want to just use the horse instead of the mates. But both in terms of the trash weight limit and the inventory management, it's just bad. Because of that, I was able to grind here only up to 4 hours until my entire warehouse was overweight from all of the armor pieces. As most people know for this series, I try to save every single item so I can take one big picture at the end of my test, and in this case I couldn't even use the bank because the armor pieces are not stackable, so I decided to use the warehouse, the marketplace warehouse, to store all of the items for this test. And after 4 hours my entire warehouse was overweight. I had to sell everything, take a picture and then sell everything, and then proceed to do another 4 hours, after which I encountered the exact same issue. After the second 4 hours, I once again was overweight on my warehouse storage. That's why I stopped at 8 hours and not at 10. I just simply didn't feel like doing 2 more hours after I had to clean my bank once again. So I would say the only downside so far for this place is that the trash is kind of heavy if you don't feel like overstacking it on the horse, and you get a lot of armors and other items that kind of hog your inventory. So let's get into the Excel file and show you how the money per hour value looks like. Once again, there are no experience values because I kind of had in mind to start an experience series soon, but I have no idea because I kind of want to get into season servers and stuff, so who knows. For now, just money per hour. So here's the picture, what I edited. I placed together all of the smaller screenshots to make one kind of usable one to see what I got in terms of all of the items for my 8 hours. All of these enhanced armor pieces that you see here, I forgot to actually take a second screenshot after I extracted them into blackstones from the first session. So this part here is the first 4 hours. This third row here, this is the second session of 4 hours, and this on top, these first 2 rows are basically what I managed to store in my own inventory. So all of these enhanced armor pieces I already extracted into these 101 blackstones, so they don't really exist in this loot table. Other than that, here's a breakdown in terms of my trash per hour. It was pretty consistent, I would say. The first 5 hours were on that first rotation, the not main one, and then these last 3 hours were on that beach rotation, the main rotation. So it seems to be slightly higher in terms of trash per hour, but who knows, maybe it's just fluctuations. The very last one, I tried to go for an experience test, so maybe I pushed myself a little bit harder and that's why it's a little bit higher. In any case, it came down to 12.3 thousand trash per hour on average. Of course, with a Common Blessing, loot scroll, the normal loot scrolls, and the 10% event from the horse. There's currently an event in game where you get a free skill experience, and the drop rate buff. It doesn't seem to be very major, it's only 10%, so it shouldn't make much of a difference. I guess it kind of cancels out the fact that on the first 3 hours of the test I didn't even have a Kamasil blessing because I forgot to open one, I forgot it expired, so I only have theoretically 5 hours grinded with the Kamasil blessing and the rest without it and only the loot scroll. So in terms of a breakdown, you get a silver drop here, just like at Pirate Island. Seems like they kept this going. About 3.2 millions per hour, just silver that drops from monsters. The dust drop rate is okay, it came down to an average of about 20 per hour, which means about 4 Khafra stones per hour. In terms of Shultz necklaces and belts, I only got 2 necklaces on the very last hour, the 8th one, both of them. So I don't know if this is bad RNG or if it's normal, but in my case I got 2 necklaces in about 8 hours, so it's maybe 1 in 4 hours, I don't know. As I said, I got both of mine in the exact same hour. Shultz belts, I got 6 in total, so maybe it's 1 per hour, maybe, but then again these don't really sell on the marketplace at all, like you're never gonna sell these, you might as well just melt them or sell them to the NPC. They don't really have any value. 7 millions for the necklace, the belt is pretty worthless. After that we have a couple of coins that drop, I believe these are the iron coins, only 23, so not really a lot. I didn't even trade them in the trade manager. I guess it's also worth pointing out that I got in total 15 petals, and these also, I believe I got 5 and 5 in 2 different hours, so I got most of them in just a couple of sessions. It's not the average 2 of them per hour in terms of petals, but nobody really cares about these. In terms of the trash item alone, there are 2 types of trash, this one and this one. Obviously one of them is extremely cheap at only 70, so this is basically irrelevant, but it's still here. And the other one, the new trash, was increased at 4,500 silver per each trash item, and I made about 55 millions per hour just on the trash alone. So if you look at my average 114, basically the trash is about half of my entire income. Then we have blackstones, armor and weapon. The weapon ones are almost inexistent, they are basically extinct for this place, not even 1 per hour. The armor ones, I'm pretty sure most of these came from the enhanced armor pieces that I extracted, so I don't know how many blackstones you get in terms of actual drops, but you do get enhanced armor pieces. The Khafra drop rate is also pretty good here at about 7 per hour on average, which isn't amazing, but it's pretty comparable to the rest of Kamasilvia in terms of how many of these you get. I believe it's the same for Ronaros and Manchams and so on, so it's not like it's bad or anything, but I was hoping maybe it would be 10 on average or so. I definitely did get 10 Khafras in one session, so maybe your luck will be different. Forbidden books, I averaged 16 of these per hour, so you do get quite a bit of these. Again, comparable to scrolls in Valencia, except that they are much cheaper at 1.3 millions each. And then Grunil armor pieces, all 4 of them, and Heave shoes. With the exception of the helmet, the Grunil helmet, all of them are pretty cheap, so don't expect to make a lot of money from these. I believe without any of these armor pieces, if I delete them, it's 110 millions per hour. No, 111. So basically 3 millions per hour average comes from just selling the armor pieces. So if you ever run into actual weight limit and inventory issues, you can maybe trash some of these cheaper armors just so you can keep on grinding, because you don't lose a lot of your overall income. Besides that, I could put here a 0 for the Shultz belt. Again, it's irrelevant, even if it doesn't sell, it's still 114 millions per hour average because of the low price. So that's basically it in terms of the Excel file. Now, as I said, I tested a lot of other spots in the past, so why not compare this place to some of the other ones so you can see if this place is actually worth it. I didn't yet put it in terms of, you know, here, the Shultz Guard, but keep in mind it's 114 millions per hour. So looking at other competitors, NECROPOLIS in Dragon is also pretty similar AP requirement wise, and it's also about 110 millions per hour. Kratuga Ruins is actually lower. KAGTUMS, Blood Wolves, is also about 114 millions per hour. PILA Jail, 100 millions per hour these days. Ronaldo's Forest, Waragon Nest, Manchaums, all of them just slightly below. So in terms of raw profit, I would say it compares pretty well with the other areas I tested previously, at least other areas that require similar AP brackets. Obviously, if you go to Kratuga or to SYCRAIA or to, you know, other high-end spots like the abandoned monastery, you're obviously going to make a lot more money there, but I would say as a rework it actually works pretty well. Finally they reworked a place where it's actually worth grinding, I would say, compared to other reworks. Fadus Habitat. In any case, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna leave you to draw your own conclusion. I'm a bit tired, maybe that's why I sound like this, if anyone noticed. So thanks for watching, hope this was useful. I personally was satisfied with the outcome. I will probably keep in mind this place as a 1 hour area in case I ever want to grind for 1 hour, you know, a quick session in some day, and I don't want to live very far from Heidel. Then sure, this place is actually manageable. The inventory issues are not exactly issues if you only grind for 1 hour, if you know what I mean. You go, you burn one of your loot scrolls, you get an inventory full of stuff, but then you go back to Heidel and you can sell all of the items immediately, so it doesn't become an issue. For long periods of time, you know, if you want to grind 4 hours at once, then it will become a big issue. So again, thanks for watching, I will see you next time, and well, stay happy and goodbye. Now that the video is over, this is Duo from the future, and I can say that I forgot to point out the elite monster here, or the stronger mob, the mini boss that spawns every now and then, and I feel like I should verbally mention it so that people don't complain. Those seem to spawn maybe 2 or 3 per hour, like they spawn pretty frequently. I don't know how they spawn, maybe after you kill a certain amount of monsters, or maybe it's just random, but for me I got them maybe 2 or 3 of those per hour, and I didn't get anything rare from them. It was always either one Kafra stone or a forbidden book, so the loot seems to be better in terms of compared to other normal monsters. Those mini bosses or monsters also spawn normal packs around them, so it's worth it to kill them. Just saying, you know, just mentioning it. Bye bye.